name's Anna Covert, and this is The Solar Coaster, the wild ride through the solar industry told by the people who are living it every day. Today with me in the hot seat is Ryan Park from Moss Construction. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
Ryan, let's kick this off. When did the sun first shine on your solar path?
Almost 25 years ago. 2001 began in California in the early days before even the idea of 1 million solar roofs was even conceived.
Wow. And because we have a lot to talk about, the full story from Ryan himself is in the book, The Solar Coaster. So pick up a copy so you can get the thrills, and it's a captivating story. So, Ryan, tell me about what's going on with Moss, and you're here at the show. What are you hoping to take away from it?
Well, there's obviously a lot of change going on right now in the industry. In my role at Moss, leading business development, Moss is a utility scale solar builder. Also has a whole division of construction of high rises and affordable housing and that too. But the capacity for this week, it's all solar. And so the utility scale, a lot of movement going on right now, obviously. And look to just align with developers, find out which projects are going on, how they stock, and actually getting it built. So Moss will build over 5 gigawatts of solar this year. Wow. But as we talked about in the book, that's not where this began. I mean, It began in living rooms, residential solar. So residential solar up to commercial solar, up to utility scale, and just great to be making an impact, producing real energy.
So what was your say in your long experience in solar? What was that, top of the ride, hands in the air, biggest aha moment for you, or biggest excitement?
I think there's been a lot on the solar coaster of these ups and downs. And I wouldn't say there are really even the downs. It's like collecting yourself again for that next push forward and what you've learned. I think the biggest moment of that aha is after Sunrun acquired the REC Solar Residential team, and Sunrun was listed on the stock exchange. IPO. Yeah. That was a big moment because it's like, wow, because our vision was bringing solar to the mainstream. And when Sunrun, rang that bell for the first time, I guess you could say that's kind of mainstream. I was not there on the floor, no, because actually I stayed behind with the REC Solar than commercial. But many of my dear friends were on that floor, actually. And so I'd say that was definitely a highlight.
That's definitely got to be one that I hope to achieve one day. I see myself when I manifest to Dr. Joe Dispenza. I see myself on the floor there one day.
Then you'll make it happen.
I sure will. So we talked about the highs. Every ride has its drops. What's been a low point for you, and how did you bounce back?
Well, I mean, there's challenges anywhere you look, but there's opportunity anywhere you look. I mean, in early 2000s, there was a California Energy Commission rebate that ran out, and then it was like, what are we going to do? And then it all came around. Costs dropped. We innovated. Programs changed. Similarly, in New Jersey, it was a boom and bust scenario there. There were solar renewable energy credits, these SRECs that really drove the market for a bit, and there was a big hiccup, and then came back. These days, it's tax credits ending, supply constraint challenges, but we will get through this too.
Yes.
So, I mean, and it's just challenges hit, and then how do you evaluate, take a step back, and pivot? Easy to say as long as you don't get out over your skis. If you're a business owner, when I say get out over your skis, if you are way too extended in cash and now you have to sell your development piece, your company for pennies on the dollars, well, get up and do it again.
What I love, what we talked about in the book about, the financing is just so important. People don't realize, what is the difference here of, and we see financiers going out left and right. And I heard a speculation that if this tax credit, which now we know will be expiring, at least for residential, at the end of this year, that was going to mean a trickle down next year of 75% of the EPCs going out of business. What do you think?
I think that's probably a high number. Yeah. I mean, I think that we're definitely going to see many more bankruptcies. We saw quite a few this year. With some of the financing challenges there. I mean, when Sunnova, the bank that is financing projects for installers, when the bank can't pay their bills to the installer, I mean, that puts installers at a place you just don't think that, is the bank not going to pay us? That was one challenge that was dealt with this last year. So there will be bankruptcies.
Postogen, they just went out a couple days ago. Mosaic, they went out.
There will be. So look, the residential tax credit ends this year. There's a big push right now. People are building it, and there will be some fallout. But the third-party owned systems remain. In total, for it with a third party owned. So you're going to see a big flip that way. Like this year, roughly 80% of systems with Powur that I've been involved with is loan or cash, at least within the Hawaii market specifically. That's going to at least flip next year to third party owned because that remains. So there's going to continue to be a really good business around the third party owned for installers that have financing. Not all of them have financing. And a lot of the banks are concerned about the financial bankability of the installer, right? Yeah. So those that are bankable will get the financing. They have a great next year and a half. Following next July 4th, 2026, when you have to have those contracts signed by, after that, solar portion of third party no longer gets the tax credit. But the tax credit for storage remains till 2033.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
So then you're just going to see an adjustment of the financing where people will, you're going to buy your solar portion, maybe with cash. You don't get a tax credit, but the price is lower. And then I see financiers financing the storage side.
Yeah.
And as a homeowner, frankly, the weak link of a system is the storage. I mean, they come with 10-year warranties that they still will produce 70% of their capacity after 10 years. But like, batteries are going to fail.
It's like a car. I mean, but it's the same thing. It's like when you I think that the expectation needs to change of the person who's buying it. It's like, okay, well, like, they think that they should have this warranty for everything. Well, what about a car? If you bought a car, you wouldn't expect it to last longer than 10 years.
That's exactly right. So, and it's like you will replace it and the technology is improving. And it's like, do you get value out of it, of those 10 years if you're financing? Like, will it save more than it costs? In most markets, yes. But even in markets where adding the storage maybe doesn't save more than you pay every month in the financing, but you get all the peace of mind of having energy. Before we started recording here, we were just chatting about that, right?
I was just going to say, like, in the cost of the opportunity cost of just having to clear out or throw away everything in your refrigerator or freezer.
Yeah, if you have a powder outage.
$500, $600 right there.
Bingo. And that's not even if it's a critical need. I mean, if you have oxygen or dialysis, or you have medicine, or you have breast milk in your fridge, and you lose power from the utility. I mean, this is in so many markets around the country, people are just starting to get exposed to, oh my gosh, the utility company actually can have power disruption issues.
That's right.
Some people are very familiar with it. And a lot of those people have then put in like gas generators and whatnot. But like storage itself has such a value around that. Being able to have backup power and not worried about it, that peace of mind, my goodness, So that's going to drive.
And I think it's a big, something I also talk about in the book is really that difference of the installer today. What are they selling the homeowner? Are they selling battery storage? Or are they selling energy storage? Battery backup or energy storage? Right. Because there's a big difference. What is the need here? Are you trying to save money with albatross, or are you, and time of use charges, are we trying to game it? Or, is it just in case the grid goes down? Like, what is the purpose of your system here? So what you're talking about here is like there are options where homeowners can install, their solar with storage, and all it's doing is just you're playing with what you have for interconnection agreements. So in early solar days, when you spun the meter backwards with solar only, the utility gave full value for it. Let's say you were paying 40. If you bought power for 40 cents or 30 cents, whatever, if you spun it backwards, you got a 30 or 40 cent credit on your bill. That's way gone, right? So in California, now you can buy your power for 40 to 50 cents, depending on the time of day. Mm-hmm. But if you give them that energy, they're paying like 4 to 8 cents. At least they're paying something.
They're doing something.
That's better than nothing.
True. But that's the arbitrage we're talking about. So there's two ways that people are doing the battery storage. They're either putting that battery storage just to put the excess energy that would otherwise go on the grid at 4 cents of credit value into the battery so that they don't then buy the 40 to 50 cent later. So that's just load shift. But in some of those scenarios, if they're just doing arbitrage with their storage, if the grid goes out, the system goes out too. And to me, like, I never recommend just doing that.
No,
like, what you're putting in the storage.
The batteries are for summer, and you don't, because if you're looking at an annual consumption, and it's just a whole other way of thinking. And I think that's what I really, what I'm hoping in the book, and that those juniors out there that are coming into the market, that they realize that the days of the solar bro are gone. Right? Yep. There's going to be a convergence happening. I think.
To be gone.
I think there is like a convergence of we're talking about 30% here, but if we look at energy or the equipment prices are coming down.
Yep. Well, right now we're in a short-term blip because of the supply constraints. Right. Everyone's trying to get it in right now, but bigger picture, yes. Supply costs are dropping.
Utility costs going up.
Yeah.
Solar bros coming down. People are no longer realizing that they can charge someone or gouge someone that much on a $10,000 commission. It's over.
Yeah.
So when we look at the convergence of these three different elements, that is an easy tax credit replacement.
Bingo. There's a lot of, so what would happen is, these installers, they are desperate to feed the installation crews. You're paying employees full-time to be building solar, and if you don't have projects for them to do, money gets eaten up real quick as an installer. So they became hooked on these third-party sales groups, the Solar Bros, canvassing streets, saying whatever to get a sales contract, and had huge sales costs in there that then passed these contracts to the installers. And it frankly tarnished the industry in a lot of ways. But where we are going is that without that tax credit, the industry needs to get more lean to be able to still deliver the savings. And the product is just improving. I mean, and those that can actually talk about the value that solar and storage really offers. And when I talk about storage, I'm talking about backup power. Grid goes out, your house stays up. You have an EV, you can charge it at home, even if the grid's out. Like, gas pumps ain't running if the grid went out for long periods of time. Like, it would be...
No, especially when we're talking about like Hawaii, where we're from. I mean, how much backup do they actually have? I've heard several different sources, but it looks like no more than 2 weeks. And we have nothing.
2 to 4 weeks, whatever. Not long.
Not long.
Is the point.
Yeah. And I don't miss going to the gas pump at all. You know, and it's just about like the gamification of it. And like, you know, you were the first one who turned me on to what's Energy, Solar Edge is doing with their new Energy Hub. And that's kind of like a span. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's where, so this is, you perfect lead into like the transition that we're going to with the solar and the storage and the smart energy of things. We've been hearing, a lot of us in the industry and outside, the Internet of Things and all the connected devices. It's finally starting to get there to where you're not just about energy production and energy storage, but then it's how does your home interact with that? Yeah. So if you have, let's say it's 3:30 in the afternoon, your solar's produced so much, you've been at work, that your batteries are full and you would otherwise start sending it to the grid, and you're going to come home by 5 or whatever from work, 5:30, these smart systems now will then, excess power, let's start pre-cooling the house with the air conditioning. Turn on the air conditioning automatically for you, that you get home to a nice cool house. You've got excess energy. Yeah, preheat the oven. Go ahead and run the dishwasher at that point with that excess power. Or, of course, the excess energy, solar EV charging to charge your EV when you're then full on batteries and everything. So that energy transition to the smart ecosystem of the home that's what's next.
That's what's next.
And the solar bros and the ones that are going to succeed are the ones that become true energy consultants that understand it.
That's exactly it. And I think that, what I always caution, at least my clients, are when they talk about the end of net metering and the end of days. Right. It's like, look to the past. Hawaii has been there for years.
Yeah.
10 years ago, net metering ended in Hawaii.
In 2015.
Yeah. So it's been 10 years, and to think that it's not going to happen to you, well, get a reality check. Yeah. Right. And if you're not selling storage now, you need to be. And if you're still trying to sell based off of an ROI factor that matters to you, look at what's happening. I mean, Florida, they just did a bid, they did a utility company to increase it 30%. Right? 30%. I mean, it is going to be wild out there. Yeah,
costs are going to continue to increase. But again, the selling point of it, it's one side of it on savings, but it's like you have predictability and forecastability in the energy costs by going with solar, and you just know this is now I'm set here at least for the next decade. And then maybe you have to get batteries again or whatever, whatever. But you have that predictability and certainty because utility rates are going to go up, especially if you're in a market where it's an investor-owned utility.
And it's getting hotter.
Yeah, and more people are putting air conditioning. We have AI facilities going in with tremendous load needs for energy. I mean, that's what's really driving the utility-scale solar space that I'm spending the majority of my time in these days, obviously. And it's all about
that. Let's pivot to that. So I know I have a lot of clients who are asking me, and I know you're an expert at it, about the commercial exemptions or extension, we'll call it.
Right.
And and there's some different lines here, 26, 27, safe harboring. Talk to me, clarify it for us. Like, how does it exactly work? How do people protect their, projects up to the next 4 years, and how do they safe harbor?
Oh gosh, we could do a whole long talk on this. Just depends on what world you're living in, the residential, commercial, industrial, or the utility scale. At the residential and like commercial, I'll start at the residential level. As long as a homeowner, if they want to buy it with themselves or just get a loan where they actually own it, the system has to be fully installed before the end of this year. So if you're just hearing this first time or whatever, it's the ship has passed.
Yes,
it's okay. No need to just cry over it. The third party ownership remains, and as long as you have your contract signed, deposits in, the project is full on moving forward by July 4th of 2026. So roughly a year still to do that.
So they don't have to have anything, no racking. It's just you have to purchase the equipment.
Yeah, it just needs to be under contract, and on the back end, the financiers have to do some purchasing and whatnot.
Yes.
So what we'll start seeing in the middle of next year is they'll start saying contracts need to be signed and whatever by the end of May or something like that. So still a fair amount of time there. What's going to happen outside of that is we're going to see some new financing techniques because the tax credit for energy storage remains through 2033. And so you're going to see scenarios where people buy their solar component and then finance the energy storage side because it's capital efficient, if you will. Yes. And with batteries, it's nice to have a third party own it because if there is going to be a failure point, it's going to be on those batteries and they take care of it, if there is an issue. At the commercial level, it's much more complicated to meet rules for start of construction. And that's how the tax credit gets reserved. So you have to be in starting of construction by this definition by January 4th of 26. So the bigger you go. What that means, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are actually up on a roof or in the ground digging and building and you have your building permits. It's that equipment has been purchased. You have
permits submitted.
Yeah, definitely going to need to have your permit submitted and just prove that this project is happening and we're moving forward.
Money in the bank, perhaps.
Some stuff has been done. Now at the utility scale, they buy the long lead time equipment. At the utility scale world, transformers that allow you to take the solar power at 480 volts or 4,000 volts or whatever to the utility level transmission, those transformers are in really short supply that have 18 months to 3 and sometimes even 4-year lead times. Those are getting purchased right now. And that counts towards that moving forward. So on the utility scale, they're buying the modules and the transformers or placing orders in battery storage in that long lead time that counts as project in construction.
So for forward, then they have 4 years?
Then they have 4 years. So from that point. So when you cut that first check on the equipment. So some of them are even playing the game and gaming it a little bit. So if they're delayed in the interconnection approvals or they think it's going to take a long time to get the land use approvals and that type of thing, like building permits are really going to lag. Some of them are waiting to put the order down on the transformers because at that point, that starts your 4-year clock. It's got to be placed in service within 4 years of that point. Not a big deal if it's a half a megawatt or, couple megawatts, but when you're talking about the scale of some of the projects Moss is building, we have multiple 750 megawatt projects.
Wow.
So this is real scale, which is really cool to be a part of. It just would dream about the day in early years of when I would have helped bring at least 100 megawatts online. That was the goal, get that first 100 megawatts. Now it's when are we gonna get to 100 gigawatts? Wow. Pretty cool.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to seeing most of the show this year?
First off, all the friends and loved ones that have been developed all these times over these decades. So that's what I'm looking forward to most. As far as the leveling up of knowledge, just hearing, what is the latest? Are there any new products that have come out? Some of the things I'm looking at is I want to see, what advancements have we had in the microgrid technology? So it's just really easy to put the pieces together and have a microgrid at scale. So residential, it's a piece of cake. Tesla Powerwall 3, Solar Edge Home Hub, Enphase, whatever. Franklin, your house is going to operate great as a microgrid.
Yes.
That's taken care of. The commercial scale, it's coming along. It's a little more challenging once you get to that 3 phase. And they have it. It's a lot of that's there. But what I want to see is how do they play where you can have long-term microgrid? What I mean is at a commercial level, you may have enough battery storage to operate your business for 2 to 4 hours. If there were no grid, maybe it keeps you up all day long, but you're only going for a couple hours at night. It's not true long-term.
Right.
Is there any good solutions that just pegs a small generator into it all together without a lot of programming on site so that if you needed, the generator is there to keep the batteries charged so you can just operate continuously?
Have you seen what they're doing in Sweden and Norway with the salt? It's a type of salt storage, and it can last 30 years or 40 years.
Yeah, the molten salt closed loop system. Are you talking about?
I'm not sure.
It heat based? Or is it the sodium storage?
I think it's I don't know. But I know it lasts for a really long time, and it's pretty fascinating. Some of these ways that they can just, store the energy in like liquid or a different type of solid state. And so it's not lithium ion and
Different
has
battery
much longer,
chemistries.
Yeah, much longer shelf life.
So most of us that know in the residential or even commercial space, lithium iron phosphate. The LFP, lithium iron phosphate, is more of the it's really safe.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't have thermal runaway in that way. But some of the other chemistries talking about, like sodium ion, some of these others that where it never degrades. That was the thing with vanadium flow batteries. Really neat from that perspective, that like it would run for 30 years and you just had to change some screens every once in a while. But never, yeah, exactly.
In theory.
It's difficult with this, where it's like, it's going to last 30 years, but to get the banks behind it and the reinsurers saying, is it really going to last that long? So that is where some of those technologies are all working through, but there's smart minds on it and smart computers now working on these chemistries that we're going to see big advancements. So yeah, that's one area. I want to see the microgrid. I want to see if we got anything like the solar to hydrogen world. That's really interesting. Solar to atmospheric water generation, pulling water out of the air.
I've got a client, atmosphere water, and he's got altitude air. That's what it's called. I'm gonna get a machine soon.
Awesome.
And my house can come up and we'll drink some. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I love it. And then high voltage EV charging. So I mean, you can see there's a lot of and just what new racking products are there? Is there any new kind of panel tech? What battery storage is coming around?
The AI for installation.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
that looks incredible. I didn't see it at Inner Solar, but I heard about it, and we'll see. That could be great for Moss and for other of these, long ground mount kind of installations.
Yeah. So TerraSmart is one. I mean, there's we're looking at big robots. Like we have, big pile drivers that we have currently that go and they put the piles in the ground just really fast, and then you could build the racking behind. Oh. But there are robots that are doing it all.
Yeah.
Piles, put the racking together, put the panels onto it. It's like a suction cup. It's like a manufacturing facility, and it's like, okay, that's where we're going.
That's amazing.
And then I want to go look at agrivoltaics. So there's some agrivoltaic exhibit stuff here in Hawaii. That's one thing we really need. Yeah. If we're going to do utility scale at scale on Oahu to make a difference, we're land constrained. The only way we're going to do it is if we can open up more ag land space. But even though I'm a solar guy, I'm not for just taking ag land out of use. In fact, it's one of the biggest knocks when you see, Trump go on some monologue or whatever. All the solar panels, it takes all the ag land, it's bad, etc. Okay, fine. That's true if you're going to take a lot of ag land out of production. But agrivoltaics is something where they can work in harmony together.
Yes.
So that's already happening in Hawaii on a project that we've built. There's a research.
Do you have the sheep out there grazing it too?
That was early stage. So yes,
okay.
We had those projects too that we built. The very stage one HECO projects, the base of the wind turbines in Kawailoa, there's almost a 70 megawatt project. You wouldn't know it. You're on the North Shore, can't even see it. Of course, you can see the wind turbines.
Yes.
Can't see the solar all up there.
No.
That's sheep grazed. So we don't have to use lawnmowers out there, and the sheep are happy and getting nice and chubby and fat, and
it's perfect.
So that, but the next level of agrivoltaics is true farming. So they've tested like over 100 crops out at the Mililani Ag Park, and basically they do hydroponic, like lettuce and tea leaves, and they've done all these testings where you're not growing in the soil, because actually a lot of Hawaiian soil isn't great. I mean, the way they grew all that sugar cane
and volcanic ash, or what?
It's not great. They fed
rich.
it. Bingo. They used to feed it with the nutrients, right? And so that's one thing that's great with hydroponic, where you just are in a substrate, have the water going through, and you use fish as your fertilizer. Yeah. So aquaponics in its true closed loop. So in fact, we have a 120 megawatt project that was awarded in the stage 3. We're gearing up to build soon. And it has a large agrivoltaic component to it with Kunya Country Farms that will provide all the lettuce and fish sticks for the public school school system in Hawaii.
So cool.
Yeah, fish stick stuff. So coming out of that, grown between the rows of the solar trackers.
That's going to be amazing,
right?
We got to go out there and film it live.
Yeah. So this is how. So it's, the energy and food nexus are together, and then water too. When you talk about atmospheric water generation, the biggest input is energy, and then you pull the water out in all these areas where you have this polluted water from Red Hill. We're talking Hawaii specifically, or all these PFAS and all these areas throughout Houston and the petrochemical industry
in Lahaina. So they brought in so Jeff Sir, my client from Altitude, he brought in. So they had them on these little like micro like a RV kind of, because they need power.
Right.
But so that's what the perfect combination with solar. And just even a residential can do, I think, 20 gallons a day, and the commercial one can do like 100 gallons a day. And now,
I've seen them with thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons.
It might be even more, but now they're installing them at hospitals, or they have them on this little RV, and now they're changing entire communities, Africa, and it's it's coming up quick.
Yeah, and it works well in Hawaii. Anywhere you get that humidity over 60%, really works well, which is Hawaii, Florida, Houston, a lot of markets.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, my last question for you? What is the one recommendation you have for those juniors out there who just want to get into the solar industry? It's a wild ride. What is your knowledge or wisdom for them?
Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Well, first off, just listening to shows like this, there's a lot of good ones out there. So start doing your homework first off. If you love it, you're going to find your way. And it really is. Do you want to enter from like a sales business development side, or are you interested going from like actually doing the work side and the contracting? Maybe you'd own your own company or drive that. So there's two different ways. One area to level up your knowledge is with NABCEP, NABCEP, American Board of Electrical Practitioners.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have a bunch of different certifications that you can go there. That's just something if you're just coming in and let's say you want to get a job, within one of those companies. I mean, as far as on the sales side, like solar now, you could just do it. Like you could become a 1099.
Join Powur.
There's a the Powur platform, POWUR, and they have, frankly, the best training I've ever seen. I mean, of anything in there, the full knowledge base, so you can learn right from there and just start with friends and family, like literally, and then it handles everything on the fulfillment. So you wanted to get into solar sales, go look no further than Powur. Honestly, just give a plug there. That is the best.
Absolutely.
Because the days of going to like show up at Sunrun and say I want a job, no, Sunrun scaled down, and they use 1099 sellers anyways, and they pull the majority of kind of profit out for shareholders. Where Powur is better.
It costs you as pass through, and listen, everyone who's listening, you can join my Powur group, and then you can tag Ryan on your first sale, and he can sell for you.
Well, maybe, but I have a great team. Sorry, I have a great team, of sellers. I just help you out on your key ones.
Oh, okay, I'm special. I like it. I like it.
No, I've got a great team of sellers. That's the thing with Powur, being decentralized. I've got sellers in states all over the country. They're experts in their local market. So depending on where the opportunity is, can go. And if you provide that opportunity, a professional will sell it, and then the person who brought in the lead gets to keep 50% of the payment.
Right. So, it's nice because then you can be like a housewife at home, and you could just go to the student council, or not student council, like the what do they call when those parents get together, like the whatever.
Just
parent
talks,
boards.
But that's really what
Bake
it's about.
Sales, I don't know.
Solar doesn't need to be sold. That is the problem with the solar bros. Yes. It doesn't need to be sold. It just needs to be educated. And it doesn't work for every house. If you have trees all over, or maybe you need a re-roof at the same time, which of course Powur can do the re-roof with the solar, and they bundle it. And they can get it all financed all together and all that. But
it's just too good.
It's just an education. Education is what truly sells solar. And so that's one way. And if you wanted to get on the install side, start with
manufacturers. You could work with in the technology, inspection. There's all kinds of different ways to get in the industry.
Yeah, engineering space. And one area, if you're like dissecting the overall industry, I mean, energy storage is an area that's still in super early stage.
What I'm really interested in is this building integrated design and what's going to happen there. We look to Singapore and places like that. They have these, the gardens. You talked about aquaponics and just, in Germany on the glass panels that they put on the side of they paint it on the wall. I don't even know how it works exactly, but it's amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there.
It's we're just beginning.
Just beginning.
Just beginning the solar coaster.
Well, it's the perfect time, I think, to end. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan.
Thank you.
Please join me next week as I interview another industry expert to help you succeed and survive the solar coaster. Aloha.
Hop on the solar coaster, come along for the ride, where sunshine meets stories and bright futures